Hello, friends, and welcome back to another Needlessly Nostalgic. I'm one of your hosts, Tyler Nichols, with my other host, Lance Velchek. Lance, we are wrapping up the Christmas season. How are you feeling about that?
I'm okay with that. It's been an uneven year, though. I'm happy hanging out with you, talking movies, so it's been a good time, but I think it's time to start fresh, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I'm right there with you. I think every time that this time of the year comes around, like I like Christmas, but I have that same feeling of like wanting to start over. It's like set new goals, do new things. And it's like one of my goals for this past year was watching a new movie for every day of the year. I didn't quite hit my goal. I got to, it'll probably be slightly more than this by the time, January 1st hits, but I am at 250 on the year. Which is still impressive.
Very, very impressive.
Yeah. Well, and I say new movies to me. So like I watched The Great Escape last week for the first time. That counts. So in terms of actual new films, it's probably about half of those were released this year, which is I think that's impressive because I know I didn't used to watch that many films in the past.
I don't even have close to that. And I started listening, I think, because of you. Just also helps with like my memory because I think my memory's kind of shit lately. So you told me to start a list, and I do the same thing. I don't even know how many movies, but let's just cut that in a third. But same thing. If it's a movie from like 1981 that I never saw, it's a new movie to me, and I saw a new movie.
Well, and I think too we should, since this is our last podcast of the year, last podcast of 2024. Everyone has been seeing these Spotify and Apple Music wrap-ups and wanted to take a moment to thank our lovely listeners because we have been sent quite a few of different people's whatever the wrap is for podcasts, because I didn't even realize that Spotify does it for podcasts too. And we are in a ton of people's top 5 podcasts listened to, which is very humbling and just awesome. So thank you guys so much for, listening, but also sending those our way. It really kind of made our weeks.
Yeah, man, it's been a tough couple of weeks on my end, and you got me smiling like a small child, Tyler, when you sent me those. So that's awesome. Real quick, who was your top artist of the year? Since we're on this, real quick.
Dude, mine doesn't even count. I listened to one thing. My top artist was John Carpenter because I'm pretty sure it was when we like in the midst of the Carpenter extravaganza, and I was just editing and wanted some Carpenter music, and so I pulled it up through Spotify.
Nothing
and
wrong.
That was the one time of the year that I listened to it. My top song was Jimmy Eat World, The Middle, that I played once. So I don't know how they picked that as my top, or it's like, oh, well, he played all these songs just the one time. But no, my podcast, sadly, our podcast is on the top of my podcast rap. So the narcissist in me was pleased with that. But
hey, man, I have to listen to it just to make sure I have no regrets. I was like, okay, we got to get going.
That's what I do. I make sure we don't have any flubs. I listen to it. I do the edits. Well, you've been picking up with some of these edits too, but if you do the edit, then I listen to it on Spotify, so then I can hear it for the first time. But then if I did the edit, it's just a way to check and make sure I didn't have any flubs, because sometimes something might sneak past, or I'm like, oh shit, there's a really loud keyboard stroke that I didn't realize that got left in, which thankfully our lovely podcast host Acast allows us to swap out audio very easily, so it can go unnoticed.
I agree. I have a mechanical keyboard, so I'm always very paranoid about that.
I know. I got mine specifically because I wanted the noise, because you can have the tactile ones that are stealth. And now that we record this, I have to look stuff up, and even doing interviews where I'm like, son of a bitch, I kind of think I might need to invest now in a silent keyboard that then I use for stuff like that.
I type so slowly and carefully in this podcast. I'm like looking up a name. It's bad. It's bad. But either way, I'm glad we were on people's list, and it was good. And I like the wrap up. I think I told you, to me, it's like a good mental health checkup. I could see how I felt during the year from the Spotify wrap up. So
yeah, because what was your top 5 for Spotify?
This year must have been a stressful year because I went I think all comforting artists, usually in my wrap up, there's always one or two, I call them ringers, a random something that I got into during the year. This year, I think it was David Bowie, Van Morrison in Fear. And then I think 4 was the composer that does Beast of the Southern Wild and Wendy. I can't think of his name right now, but I usually write to his music because he's a great composer. Mikey Mike, which is this like California hip hop guy. Either way, safe as can be. If I got Van Morrison, David Bowie, and Fear, then that's like, that to me is means I was stressed out. So
I just tried looking up to see if Apple had done a like proper wrap up for me, because I listen to most of my stuff through my iPhone and through the Apple service, and they do not have their wrap up yet because they're shitty, and I think they don't do it until closer to Christmas / end of the year. So
I think that makes more sense, honestly, because it is the end of the year. Well, let me know when that comes up. Let me know on the podcast what you got and your true music is.
I'll give you, dude, I could tell you right now, it will be, I think my number one artist will be Chappell Roan, I think, then followed by like the Beatles, Eminem, and like, because Chappell Roan's like the only new artist that I got into this year, and I got real into her, really enjoyed her stuff, and so I listened to it. It was just one of those things I would just have it on. So that's easily my number one artist, but which is weird. It's not usually my lesbian pop music isn't usually my jam, but pop music is I don't know, it's having a little bit of a comeback that I'm enjoying. I hated the 2010s pop music, so it's nice change of pace.
Is it something you use when you're stressed, or is that something you use when you're happy? Like, where do you think the lesbian pop music comes from? Does that mean that you had a good year, or does that mean you had a bad year because you were going heavy on fun music?
That's a good question. I definitely used it as like a mood booster because it's like positive vibes. Half the time it's down. Half her music is just like, it's really good lyrically. So then good beats. So then you can kind of just focus on one element or another, which I think is the kind of best kind of music. But then also you can listen to it superficially and just have a fun time. So that's always a blast. But
I've never heard it. So, but continue. My apologies.
Yeah, I do recommend anyone to check out that. What is it? Something of a Midwest Princess is the title. Fall of a Midwest Princess, I think, is the album. I'm the type of person that I could never get into Taylor Swift, but I listened to every album of hers when it came out, just hoping like that I would finally get it. It's like one of these times there's like one Taylor Swift album I like, and that's 1989. And it's because there's like 3 songs on it I like. So it's like, I want to like pop music because it can make, I don't know, it's usually like feel good and loose and light, and all the other stuff I like is like dark and soulful. So it's a yin to my yang.
Yeah, balances you out. All right.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I'd recommend it to anyone. It's fun, even if you're not into pop music. And I wanted to also make sure I have this in my notes that I wouldn't forget to shout out Mr. Jollyhandro. He's one of the people that sent in his Spotify Wrapped list, and he always likes our stuff on Instagram, and so he's commented a couple times. We really, really appreciate whenever we see that kind of stuff. So thank you guys so much when you send over any, like, I guess this is a call out to anyone that has a Spotify Wrap that you haven't sent to us. Please do. It's like a little endorphin rush for us.
Yeah, it's good, man. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, but let's get into our final Christmas movie of our holiday season. We are covering Christmas Bloody Christmas, and I already forgot how to say his name. Written and directed by Joe Begos.
Begos, yes.
Begos. Okay, I've been saying Bagos for so long. So Begos, Joe Begos, starring Riley Dandy, Jonah Ray, Dora Madison, Sam Delick, and Jeff Daniel Phillips.
And Abraham Benrubi.
Oh, yeah, Abraham Benrubi. We got to give a shout out to
Kubiak.
Mr. Larry Kubiak from Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he's in. I know him from Jerry from ER.
Yeah, he was in. Yeah. I watched. I was in that era for sure. But I have to always give any Parker Lewis love I can, Because for the longest time, I was the only person that ever talked about it. I swear, there's a time in my life I'd be like, you guys remember Parker Lewis? And people like, nah, no idea.
I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't know unless you did the Parker Lewis. If you just said Kubiak, I'd be like, Craig Kubiak, the old coach of the Texans? Like,
well, one day we'll do a little.
Yeah. This was my first and my only experience with Mr. Joe Begas. I am not aware of his work. I am aware of his work. I just have not watched any of his other work, which includes Bliss and VFW. Are you acquainted with Mr. Joe Begas's work?
After this movie, which spoilers, I loved, I went back and watched, is it VFW with, what's his face? William Sadler, obviously Death.
Sadler. I was thinking Stephen Lang.
I like Lang, but Sadler was Death in part 2 of Bill and Ted. He's my guy in Shawshank. He was in Demon Knight, of course, the first episode of Tales from the Crypt. So anytime Sadler came around in my life, I was always a big fan. So I went back and watched VFW, and I loved it. I should continue on. I have not gone past that, so I've not seen Bliss, but I would consider myself a fan of Joe Begas, and I think his style is the kind of vibe I'm into.
Yeah, this is a movie that I think that it's polarizing because the people that like it really like it. And so then if you're not vibing with this and you're hearing like, oh, this is this great movie, then you're going to have a tough time because it's not traditional in many, many senses. But I actually, before we get into the film itself, I want to acknowledge that this was one of the first movies that I did an interview and reviewed for JoeBlow.com. It's probably in the first year of reviewing, but definitely for interviews. And so I actually talked to Joe Begas about this film, and I will be giving you no insight on that interview because it was my 6th ever interview and it's probably terrible. But if anyone wants to see me interview Mr. Joe Begas, you can definitely check that out because I remember him being like kind of like a fed up stoner. Like he just didn't seem like he wanted to be doing press for anything, which I appreciated because he was clearly passionate about his project, but like just as like fuck everything about this process, which
didn't want to do the dance. I like that.
Yeah, there's a punk rock side to him, which is not shocking when you see the man or any of his exploits, and especially his films, because his films are really all over the place. Because yeah, it's got a very strange. This film has a strange tone, but I vibe to it completely, and I think that this is essentially just going to be a love fest for Christmas Bloody Christmas, because I think you and I are pretty much on the same page about this movie being just an absolute gem in the time where we don't really get many Christmas horror gems, I should say.
Yeah, this is a vibe movie because clearly it is a movie based on dialogue and chemistry. That's all this movie is. And in the midst of dialogue and chemistry, we have a killer robot Santa that is pure out of the era of exploitation. This is sexualized, it's violent, it's gory, it's mean, F-bombs galore. It's filmed on, I think it's like a anamorphic 16mm lens, I forget.
Yes.
So it's grainy, everything about this. It's like you have to be about that. Something that we talk about is how, a lot of times what really sells a Christmas horror movie is how well Christmas plays a part, and this feels like they nailed that 100%. Begas and his cinematographer, the editor, Josh, I have written down, it's such a weird name, Ethier. I think they kind of understand the idea that like Christmas and the colors and the vibe has to play an important part, and that's I think what really sold me. And I made a video on Joe Blow. I did a review, not like yours. You actually did like a real review. I just did like a video essay on why I liked it, and most of the comments were pretty negative. And it's because they hated what I loved, which is it's just a bunch of people fucking talking. It's boring. It looks ugly. It's a lot of swearing.
It looks ugly. I adore how colorful this film is. And which I didn't realize going into it, that's a trait of a Joe Begas movie. He loves neon lights and just colorful frames. And which I again didn't know. I thought he was just doing for the Christmas aesthetic. it works so well for the Christmas aesthetic because Christmas time, you see so many of those kinds of lights, and he really just takes advantage of it with just decorating every surface that he can with wonderful lights, which even it's funny because we have a commentary track that released on Patreon this month for Black Christmas 2019. And one of the main criticisms, many criticisms, but one of the main things that stuck with me was how cheap the production design was, with like, you could see lights that were only put on one side of a building, or you could see like where they clearly stopped decorating, like stopped dressing the set, which you don't have in this, which is insane because this is made for such a lower budget. And so it shows how far just passion can go in making your film stand out, because there is clearly no passion from the other side of things. And so it's interesting to see all the passion that's clearly involved in this film.
What bothered us, me and you and Mr. Andrew Hatfield, not only was the laziness of the remake, the newer remake of Black Christmas, but they would have Christmas lights, but then they would obviously have some sort of floodlight or something to like obviously light up the characters and the actors, which would just bleed out so that the Christmas lights, though I saw them, added no actual light to the scene. Where this, and maybe there could be an argument like, oh, it's too much, but fuck that. I like that it's too much, where the Christmas lights almost seem like they're on extra high. So every time there's a blue or a green, it lights the room. But that to me sets the mood. This is a mood movie because beside the dialogue is just opinions being kind of debated, which is something I like a lot. The story really is just a guy and a girl that are horny and kind of lonely, talking about life and what they love, what they hate, and their opinions. That's half the movie. I feel like I'm jumping all around. Let's start off. What is your idea of the chemistry between Riley and Mr. Sam?
I really love the whole back and forth at the bar. I think Biggis has a talent for dialogue and shooting dialogue. There's a moment that it happens probably, 15, 20 minutes in, where it's this long take. It's essentially, it might be during the stretch of time where they're talking about all the different movies. And there's a moment where like the camera, it essentially moves in, like readjusts, and is like, you can tell that they're just following. It's okay. There might be a like outline of what needs to be said, but there's a lot of improving. You might even hear like Riley might stumble on a line that then she immediately just like corrects and goes on, because that's how life is. You're not perfect. You might stumble over your words, not say things right. You might start an idea that then you go through the idea. It reminds you of a different idea partway through. There is such it's a talent that when you do dialogue well, I think that people don't notice it, especially when shooting it. I think that, yes, you can absolutely watch this and not like what Tori and Robbie are saying. 100%. You cannot like the Alien Covenant line is offensive. Like, it's offensive. And shit like that. I think that there's people that then it's like, just because you don't agree with the dialogue doesn't mean it's not good dialogue. This is how people speak. This is how people behave in these circumstances. And so to be able to I think that dialogue can sometimes be overlooked in terms of how much it can immediately just endear you to characters and get you on the same page as them. And this immediately, there's a harshness to what they're talking about, what they're speaking of, yet there's still a likability to them, which I think is true in life. You might meet someone that is brash and opinionated, that says insane things in a bar, that then still you can tell still has a kind soul, and you would want to hang out on the weekends. And I think that both Tori and Robbie fit that very well. It's going to be hard to not call her Riley Dandy because she has such a great name.
I wrote down Riley Dandy and Sam Delich, Robbie and Tori. But yeah, Riley Dandy is it has to be a stage name. It's so cute, right?
You would think. You would think it. Yeah, she's great in this. Like, she's really, really good. It's a tough role because it's not.
Well, I was going to say that with the dialogue, I completely agree. I think dialogue is more important than most people, but it's like lyrics and music where it's super important. It's also not. It all depends on the movie and what we're going for. You know, there are movies I love with very little dialogue that's completely just an atmosphere and mood and vibe. And there's movies where talking is the most important. I mean, Smoke is one of my favorite movies, and that's just people fucking chatting. I love chatting movies. But this dialogue, as good as it is, could easily fail with the wrong actor. So I really think it helps that you have people like Riley Dandy and Sam Delich who genuinely feel like friends. And it never comes off awkward. And there's a lot of stuff in this that could have easily, even at parts, like there's movies where 90% of this character says something well, but that sticks out as kind of clunky. This movie is full of things that should be clunky but come off so natural. And I think that is an absolute talent to the writing, but also how Sam and Riley kind of play off each other. And you're saying about the Covenant line, this is how I know this is a great movie. In one instance, they talk about Pet Sematary 2, and they've said things that I've said myself. And I'm not saying he took it from me, but I've never heard anybody else in my life say this stuff. So when I saw it, I clapped out loud. I looked at my girlfriend at the time. I go, good.
Edward Furlong, Clancy fucking Brown, who, by the way, chews up scenery like it's a piece of fucking gum. And that soundtrack, they've got 12 tracks of female-fronted, fucking aggressive as hell, early 90s grunge.
And I swear, moments before, moments after, I can't forget where it is in the movie, they fucking say something about bands and long hair that is so incorrect that I immediately was like, you're out of your fucking mind, Begus. But I loved it because it was so authentic to the characters.
Is that the Soundgarden line?
Yes. Like, listen, I'm not a Metallica fan. Obviously, this guy's a metalhead. But to fucking sit there and say Bad Motorfinger is better than Super Unknown is so fucking foolish. It's like, come on.
Soundgarden. Cornell cuts his hair off, opts for the Spencer's gift tips with the frosted spikes, and then the motherfucker's really Super Unknown.
All you got is Cornell's goofy style change. Yeah, sure. The hip 90s hair looked dumb. Fair enough. But what the does that have to do with their musical ability? Bad Motorfinger kicks ass. Slaves and Bulldozers is brilliant, and you couldn't get a better concert closer. But let's not look over their vocal melody in the chorus of Mind Riot, a clear indication of their growing songwriting ability. Now, if you mean slightly less heavy, sure, why not? But then actually listen to Super Unknown and try not to ignore the heavy and thick chokehold of Mailman, or the growing anger in Limo Wreck. And if there's, too much melody in 4th of July, then may God have mercy on your soul. Now, let's not conflate heavy for interesting, sweetheart.
That being said, the fact that they could say that against my entire religion, but also say something like Pet Sematary 2 is far better because of Clancy fucking Brown, shows you that it doesn't matter what they say, because it's just so good and so believable. That's the thing about this. Because you said about Covenant, yeah, but if you get upset, it's like, I believe in tipping, but I still think the opening to Reservoir Dogs is brilliant. So it's all about just delivery. And these guys, I'm going to say this, I was so charmed when I first saw this movie, I was in love. Like, to me, this is a love story that happens to also have a murderer Santa played by the great Abraham Ben-Ruby. This is a movie that I find adorable.
Yeah, I think that they do a great job with the Tori and Robbie. I struggle to even call it a relationship because they set it up in such a good way, because it's like she's his boss. There's clearly been a lot of tension, like sexual tension between them, and it seems like the timing hasn't worked out, because they mentioned all these girls that he dated that were clearly train wrecks, and so it comes across like, okay, yeah, these guys, they clearly just like were never single at the same time, and now they've been giving each other shit for so long because of that their weird dynamic, that this is how they would realistically get together. And I love Tori and Robbie's body language throughout that first act. There's like that touching, there's the like leaning in close, there's all these subtle things that it's like, yes, they're both giving these subtle cues. It's why I struggle to say that I don't like romantic films or romantic comedies, because I love a good romance. Like, but this is where I get my good romance from Christmas Bloody Christmas, because then I'm not getting the corniness that usually follows up with this shit. because there's not a lot of corniness that actually happens in real life. Like real life doesn't happen like that. We don't have these music swells. So I liked seeing a romantic, I can't even call it a meet cute because this is not them first meeting, but it's like this romantic blend of friends becoming lovers. And I really enjoyed it. And that's not even getting into the whole eating her out element, which I think is very, very modern and very, very,
very feminist.
Yeah, very feminist, very pro women.
I was thinking, I want to go back because you made a good point about the body language. If you look at when they're walking down the town street in the very beginning, it's like two dudes in a way. Like she's being kind of cute, but it's, you know, it's a little more, let's call it professional. By the time they're in the bar, her hips are facing him. It's direct eye contact is very sexy, but it's not sexy. It's a like held back flirtation that you could tell, but she could still walk away if she wanted to. So could he. It is that sort of middle ground. And I'm sure this has happened to you. You've worked with people that are probably cute or you've had like a small crush in your life that like nothing really happened, but you would have like a playfulness about like this. I thought was very authentic to that sort of playful nature when two people find each other attractive, but nothing has happened or ever will. I mean, obviously this does, but that is that sort of vibe.
I'm curious because you're someone that when we watch Friday the 13th, you're rooting for Jason and you always seem to go for the killer. I personally think this film does a really good job of getting you to root for the human beings, despite most people being shitbags. And I think a lot of that has to do with the robot killer Santa. He doesn't have much personality. He's just he just kills. He literally just kills everything that comes across his path, which I think is so much scarier because you can't reason with this man. Like, I forgot that he straight up murders a child in this movie with an axe.
Like, you're right. And let's step back a little and say the robot isn't like, this movie should have focused more on the robot, had the characters slightly more in the background and follow the robot more. And it didn't. And I like it for it. Like, that's how good the characters are that I'm actually not only okay, but I prefer the fact that the killer robot is kind of a second thought. It's because we spend so much time with these characters that I fall in love with them. But you're right, though. When we do get to them, it is just this unstoppable force. That's what I think I like about this so much is that it's mean. Like him killing the kids sets off Riley and Sam. Fuck, I should use. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I mean,
everyone knows. We're swapping. Yeah,
I'm just gonna go by Riley and Sam. Like it sets off their sort of introduction to it. I think that's such a cool thing. Like the kid and the parents, and it's in the house across the street, all in fucking Christmas lights, cats, kids, and dogs. I mean, everybody has a fucking stink about it. Like it's not a movie, and like it's just the idea of it, and which I guess is effective. But I also think I get annoyed that people have such a strong feeling about fake things happening and fake stories and fake fucking movies. But I love the idea that he goes right there. Not to mention, let's rewind a little. Some girl getting doggy styled, and the guy fucking gets split in half, and then goes a little extra. I mean, it's offensive, and I shouldn't say that because it's not to me. But clearly, there's somebody on the other side.
Joe Begas loves a head split. He does it twice in this because he does it with Jonah Ray. It technically is a body split because it goes down, I think, to the waist. But then later on, when we get the Begas, why do I keep wanting to say it wrong? Joe Begas, he is like his cameo, and of course, split that head.
Yes, the angry neighbor.
Wonderful. Like I love that too because it's like it's clearly him being pissed off about something that he's bitched about them like a million times. Like, what the fuck?
And if I made a movie, it'd be about traffic. That would be the thing. But it's the same, like you could tell it's passionate. And I did. And this is a movie with cameos at work. Like I think the editor is the bartender. Begas is the angry neighbor with the car. But not once they seem out of place. I don't know. I love Tarantino, but like there are a couple of movies where I'm like, dude, get a fucking actor. Django Unchained, get an actor.
Yeah, I think we've discussed it on the pod in the past where it's like one element of a good director that often gets overlooked is how he directs his actors and directs them in a believable way. It's the reason that Richard Linklater is able to just pull people from Life and get these incredible performances from a non-actor like gas station worker. It's like, because he just knows how to be real and in the moment and knows how to get that out of people. And I think that despite him being a low budget horror movie director, I think Biggest has that same exact quality of being able to get a performance out of people that you wouldn't otherwise think you'd be able to get a performance out of. It's because it's really tough. As someone that, you know, when I was in high school, I thought that I would be making movies. And once you make those short films and you realize how hard it is for people to be truthful, like on screen, and it's like, and try and direct them and get them into that path. It's tough. And people that pull it off, I think that it's with anything in life, when you're bad at it, it's more noticeable. But when you're good at it, it just goes seamless and unnoticed.
Coming at you live from Auto Trader, here's New Car Energy.
There's searching inventory. You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. It's smarter car shopping just for
Find
you.
your next ride at autotrader.com, powered by Auto Intelligence.
That is an apple. That is new Fireball Blazing Apple. The original taste of Fireball whiskey, now laced with apples.
Please drink responsibly. Whiskey with natural cinnamon flavor, 33% alcohol by volume, produced by Sazerac, Louisville, Kentucky.
And this movie can't hide because it's not just a bunch of teens getting killed by Killer Santa. It's a talkie movie. The first half, honestly, shouldn't work. It shouldn't, because they're just talking. They're just talking. Yeah. I mean, they're just talking about music and movies, stuff that I love, of course. But like I said earlier, I mean, I could dig on some Aaron Sorkin. I obviously fucking Fukin Madden. Westwood was classic. I love The Newsroom. I know people don't, but blow me. But that's a good example of dialogue that when it's not taken well by an actor, it sounds so bad. And then you've lost. I mean, I couldn't stand Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. I thought Molly's Game was kind of lame. I'm just saying, like, so there's so much magic that's happened with directing actors to say believable dialogue. And like you said, blocking this in a way that isn't just them kind of standing around. The amount of movement and rack focusing this guy does is super impressive. Super impressive.
I just want to touch on your Aaron Sorkin thing before we move on to something else. I think Aaron Sorkin is a great writer and a bad director. He can't direct his dialogue and his script, like his writing, but he can. Better directors can make his dialogue really flourish. As I think Social Network is the biggest example, because David Fincher has such a like mathematical approach to filmmaking that like Sorkin's dialogue actually works there. But I think Sorkin is a much lazier director and isn't able to go to the lengths that he would need to be able to get his dialogue to work as well as other people are able to.
So, you say that, and I'm thinking of things I love. What has he directed? Because Steve Jobs, I think, is brilliant, and that's Danny Boyle, Moneyball.
He did Molly's Game.
Okay. Well, that might be why, because I thought Molly's Game was kind of corny.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the other, because I mostly think of Sorkin from TV. I
didn't see The Trial of the Chicago 7, but that's directed by him.
Yeah, Molly's and Being the Ricardos. That was his other one, because he's only directed 3: Molly's Game, Trial of Chicago 7, and Being the Ricardos. I
didn't hate the Ricardos, but I mean that also.
But bland. It didn't feel like a Sorkin movie. I feel like.
Yeah. I guess you're right though, because I felt like it could have like hit me in the heart more. Like I could tell a movie that has heart that I'm disappointed when it doesn't push me over the edge or doesn't make me like get that feeling of goosebumps where I get fucking moved. So yeah, probably is his directing. Well, but to tie back to the Biggest, his sort of grindhouse style works so well in a movie like this that when we do the last half is just a Killer Santa, it is so intense. It is so fucking raw. It is so mean. You could feel it. I feel like this is a movie where I could taste what's on screen. And I love that. Like, what's her name? Riley Dandy. She's in the cop car and the cop gets killed and she has that fucking blood cannon, that Evil Dead cannon of blood splatter her in the car and she just freaks out. I mean, I'm not saying it's hot in a sexual way, but it's hot in like that's how you do horror. That is the kind of horror I will always light up for. That sort of just mean, bloody, sticky. I don't know. I don't want to say grindhouse because I wasn't in that era, but exploitative might be the thing. I'm struggling for the word, but you know what I'm saying? That sort of just raw type of horror.
Yeah, exploitative, over the top. I think that moment in particular, because we have such a buildup of setting both Robbie up, but also his relationship with Tori, or would-be relationship. I mean, the man literally goes down on her. Which that's another thing. I love the parallel. They have the parallel with the Santa killing the guy on the staircase with Riley being eaten out, where it's like that is some brilliant filmmaking right there. Like the correlation, and like she climaxes at the time of the death, because that is, I think, one of the, I think we brought it up. I think I usually compare it to a joke, and like the setup and the punchline, but it's like, yeah, it also works in terms of sex as well. You have the foreplay, and then you have climax. Like, so it's interesting to see that, like, that side by side comparison where it's like, yeah, both of these are trying to elicit the same thing out of you.
The music works really well, and how he shoots a sex scene. I mean, obviously the house scene where the guy gets killed on the stairs and he kills the kids is great. Yeah. But the sex scene is filmed in such a realistic, raw way that it's very hot. But it also just doesn't feel staged at all. And I know they didn't, but I believe that Sam was eating out Riley. And I know for a fact that he wasn't, and he didn't, and that it was a movie. But that's how well he shot that it just was, it was just so fluid and real. I was like, damn.
At one point, because when he goes down on her, he doesn't take her panties off. At one point, you can see him move them to the side.
Yep.
Like, and it's like it's a brief moment, and the camera's like almost immediately moves off, where then you can't see. And I was just like, what the fuck? That's such a small moment that adds so much realism to the moment that then it's like, how do you even come across? How do you do that? I mean, I assume the actors had a lot of trust in each other, but like that kind of thing is very impressive when a believable sex scene is hard to accomplish, and especially in the indie world. I imagine they didn't have an intimacy coordinator on this one.
Adults should have the conversation. I hope they do, because when they don't, that's when I feel, people get taken advantage. But okay, this is what I want, and I'm hoping and I believe it probably was, she agreed. She's like, okay, pull it aside. You've seen one, you've seen them all. Don't touch it. We call it a day. That's what I'm guessing happened, because he pulled it aside. I remember seeing that, be like, oh. Yeah,
because then my first thought was, is she wearing because remember that they have those like sticky things.
Yeah.
That are flash covered that literally just like, it essentially like seals up the vagina.
I mean, maybe they could have, but he's also Australian. And maybe that sexy accent caught her off guard. She's like, it's fine. Just give a quick look and don't touch. I don't know.
She's Australian?
No. Sam is.
Sam is? Okay. Yeah.
And he does great with an American accent, because I didn't catch it.
I didn't catch it either. That's why I just assumed everyone was Canadian.
No, when you watch the behind the scenes, I was going to try to do like an Australian accent, but I can't. But just imagine like a real offensive, like, all right, mate.
G'day, mate. Yeah.
Crocodile Dundee.
Another shrimp on the barbie. Isn't that always what you have to do when you're doing, or like, that's not a knife. This is a knife.
I think of Dumb and Dumber. He's like, where are you from? She's like,
Austria.
Well then, g'day, mate. Let's put another shrimp on the barbie.
Yeah. That's the kind of joke that I like didn't get for the longest time, and then when finally watching the movie and getting it, we were like, oh my god, there's so many things. How many other things did I miss in this film?
It's a masterpiece. I'll say that Dumb and Dumber is an absolute masterpiece.
It's so good. Now okay, she is from the United States. I just had to check. It's like, I was curious about Riley
Dandy, yeah.
So I also want to touch on, because we have been praising this movie, and there's something in the beginning that it really bugged me, and then I essentially went, okay, this might be intentional. I need to wait until later on in the movie, and that's the commercial with the robot in it, because it really bugged me at first, because he does not move correctly. He moves like a human being. And then I realized, because I was like, okay, this is a world of a commercial. This could legit just be an like in that world, it's an actor who's playing a robot. And I think that's what they're trying to do, because later on in the movie, when we actually get the robot, he doesn't do any of the bullshit that bugged me in that commercial. Because I'll tell you, like, it's the movement thing. So an example, like if you're moving from left to right, you have three movement spots. Like if you're a robot, so you have the one spot to the left, one spot to the middle, one spot to the right. And then he would like reset going all the way to the other side, where it's like, no. You then go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's
an old-fashioned robot, essentially.
Yeah.
How they're
and he kept fucking that up in the commercial. But again, I think it was all intentional, because it was supposed to show like, no, this is actually an actor for this moment, not one of the robots that's being utilized.
Good for you for catching that. I was going to say Slim Janko's Whiskey for the Kid and Coons' Cream Pie is what I remember. I don't remember the Santa commercial, because I think the other two RoboCop-ish commercials are so fucking weird and hilarious, and for no other reason, just to set up this weird, I don't know, trashy world. But no, I mean, the movement is correct. And I remember I didn't love the old-fashioned robot movements at first, just because I was like, oh, come on, man, we're 2023 or 4, come on. But then I got the vibe. It's like, by the end, and it's like the old-fashioned Terminator looking thing. It's like, oh, this is meant to be that old-fashioned RoboCop-ish robot where it has, those awkward movements. So I did like it, though I didn't catch the commercial fucking up, I'll be honest.
Well, and then too, the one thing that I every time I see it, they do like his lower jaw gets messed up partway through the movie, and so it's like exposed with this green light. Like 90% of the shots, I do think that it just looks like just something hanging in front of his actual jaw.
For sure.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. They didn't. I don't think they did a great job with like making it appear like his actual jaw. Again, just a minor complaint, but it was something that throughout especially in the third act, not the third act, right before it gets to the third act, there was a couple close-ups where it's distracting. So it's like, ooh, the depth doesn't make sense.
Like when it's when they're at the sheriff's office, and then the fire truck, those scenes are right. You think?
Yeah, that, and just before is when it's more, because it's during all the crazy Terminator section that then more of his face gets fucked up. So then I think it looks fine, but it's just when it's just on his jaw where it's like, ooh.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, there are, even at the full robot at the end, at times the way it moves, and I'm being picky because it's a low budget movie, and honestly, for the budget they had, I think it looks fucking fantastic. Yeah. That being said, I could also admit to you that it did look like it was on a rod. It didn't feel fully movable, but whatever. I mean, I'm more impressed that they did as much as they did with the budget they had, and it didn't come off worse. Am I being like too pessimistic when I say stuff like that?
No, I think they did a great job with, there's also something that I think a lot of people would miss is during the ambulance chase at the end, they are so intentional about what the background is at all moments, where like to the point where I'm pretty sure most of that scene is them going through the same section of the town square, because that town square is lit up with lights. So you want those lights to be in the background. So every time during that chase, it's not, oh, you look back and, oh, wait, why are there no Christmas lights? It's like, oh, because they didn't film this during Christmas because it's a low budget thing. No. They fucking had lights in damn near every single shot, all the backgrounds, even that when they're walking and the like the twofer where Riley and Sam are walking, you see far back in the town, there's lights, they got put there. I mean, yes, maybe they filmed this, they got lucky, but also there's no chance they filmed this. So this came out in December of 2022. And the reason I know that they did not film this during Christmas, other than talking with them, is that there is there is a tribute to Taylor Hawkins, the Foo Fighters drummer that died. He died in March of 2022. There would not have been that brief line because they do a brief, it's during their whole little back and forth, and they do a RIP when they mention the Foo Fighters. So then when I heard that, I immediately had to look up because I was like, wait a minute, I thought this was well before Taylor's death, but no, it was after. So that to me says that they did not film this during Christmas time. So they had to put all this up, which just again shows
set decoration.
Yeah, it shows the set deco, which I guess we should make sure to call this person out because they did such a fantastic job. Elliot Gilbert was the art director on this one. So art director would have done all of those lights and stuff. So Elliot did a fantastic job with this. And sadly, it's the last thing that he did art director on. Hopefully that means he's moved on to other things. Oh, he's also one of the officers, Officer Davies, which that's another thing. Don't you just love that it's like indie filmmaking for something like that? Where it's like, oh yeah, this guy, he's also the grip, or he's also the editor.
They're using everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic because it means these people are being paid like multiple ways, and like that might then, like, an editor isn't getting any royalties on this shit, but if they have a speaking line, they'll get some royalties. Like, it's stuff like that goes a long way.
And it gives the idea of that this is kind of like a family, because I'm pretty sure, at least according to the behind the scenes stuff, a lot of these people he's used before. I mean, like I said, I'm bad at names, so I'd have to go watch. Now that we're talking, I'm probably going to rewatch VFW, and I'm going to watch the one before because it's been a couple years.
Bliss, the lead girl, is the first, or not the first kill, the second kill, the girl that's getting plowed from behind by Mr. Jonah Ray.
Like that he used that's just. That to me is loyalty, and I'm a Midwesterner, and you take care of your people, and I respect that.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, you and I are big Flanagan fans, and he was always reusing. Yes.
He has a family.
Yeah, because these are you're taking up how much of your life. Like, of course, you want to then do it with people that you enjoy being around. So I've always understood the reasoning for it. I'll take that over people just doing it for nepo reasons. It's like, all these people are talented. It's like, okay, I'm cool with people who are talented that are then like, oh yeah, they might have gotten a leg up. Just, it's like they're an actor that didn't have to go through the audition process, but they're still talented enough that they probably would have made it far anyway.
And if you have a team, then you know how people act. They know your style, know your vibe. It's like you don't have to start over. You start ahead. Because I'm looking, and I was like, okay, what's Bigas doing next? It's called Jimmy and Stiggs. It's like an alien movie.
Yes, I wanted to talk to you about this because it looks amazing.
But it has Riley Dandy, so already I'm like, okay. I mean, that's there's not much details unless you know. But please,
no. So this is the plot for this film, and tell me if this does not sound absolutely incredible. Because Mr. Joe Bigas is the lead character in this film. A shitstorm of bad news sends out-of-work filmmaker Jimmy spiraling into an out-of-control bender in which he claims to have been abducted by aliens. Fearing they'll come back, he contacts his old friend Stiggs to help him gear up for war.
It sounds like a great time. He's going aliens. Dude. Okay, fine. Let's do it.
Yes, I can't fucking wait. Like, everything about this sounds incredible. And then too, Matt Mercer is the like his co-star in it, who, unless I'm wrong, isn't he a video game guy? Unless it's Matthew Mercer. Might be Matthew Mercer. I mean, no, they look like the same person.
I don't know this guy, but I mean, I trust you if you know him. Oh, he's in Contracted, which is I thought it was a really fun movie.
Oh, they might be different people. Yep, they look like they're different people. Matthew Mercer versus Matt Mercer. Regardless, I'm sure he's very talented.
Yeah, and we don't know who else is in it. I'm hoping I see a few other of his familiars. I mean, I'd like to get a little more of some Abraham Ben-Ruby, if I'm being honest.
Dude, trust me, it premiered at Beyond Fest in October. I am currently in the midst of trying to figure out how to get a copy.
Good. Please let me know.
Because it looks amazing. The one bit of image, like the one image that's out for the film, looks like insane. Like it looks exactly what I would expect from Mr. Begas. I'm gonna throw it in our little Discord thing so that you can see it. But I'm trying to think what else with this movie.
Coming at you live from Auto Trader, here's New Car Energy.
There's searching inventory. You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. It's smarter car shopping just for
Find
you.
your next ride at autotrader.com, powered by Auto Intelligence.
Should we discuss? Oh, we haven't even really talked about the Silent Night, Deadly Night aspect of this. Why will this not?
I mean, like, you probably know more than I do. All I know is that I guess whoever owned the rights asked Mr. Begas to do a pitch, and he like wrote the treatment for this movie, and they're like, it's too far away from what it should be, and people will hate it. Some stupid shit like that, and he had to basically stick his middle finger up and make the movie, and didn't get the rights. Right? Isn't that? Do you know more about it?
He didn't get the rights.
Like, this was supposed to be a Silent Night, Deadly Night movie. I think a producer that he knew had the rights. He wrote this as Silent Night, Deadly Night remake, and then they didn't like it, and they told him that people would hate it. It's not authentic enough.
Dude, you just brought me back to my interview with him. He actually, he brought that up, and I was shocked to hear about it, because like it's such a cool movie that you don't expect. I don't know, whoever the rights holders that were then like, oh yeah, this isn't what we want. Like, what? What do you mean? How is this not what you want? This is exactly what horror should be. It makes no sense.
I agree, though I think it might be a blessing in disguise, only because you and me, I think, are a little more open at our age now that if if Silent Night, Deadly Night had a remake and it was the movie, I'd be okay, because it's weird and fun and awesome. That being said, there are a lot of people that are more purists, and I'm not saying the producer is right, but maybe this movie would have had a lot more baggage, which would have, I don't know, I think hampered it. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just being pessimistic, but in the end, I think it was probably a better thing, because he probably had less pressure, less interference, whereas if he was doing a remake, he might have somebody over his shoulder changing shit up. And this movie, again, is talking about movies, music, and eating pussy. So it's like, well, that probably wouldn't have been the movie I would have gotten if it was called Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I wonder if the scene with the neighbors getting murdered, that very much parallels Silent Night, Deadly Night in terms of the set. I wonder if specifically the reason that he didn't go with like a topless girl is because they didn't want to have parallels with Silent Night, Deadly Night. Because based on like, it seemed perfect for this kind of movie. It's like, oh yeah, it's the shitty neighbor and his teen girlfriend that then get murdered rather than like a family.
Yeah, you make a good point. It would have probably been more. Yeah, I could see. Yeah, some topless girl. There's like antlers on the the wall, yada yada yada.
Could easily see it.
That way, I say for this movie, I prefer them killing an innocent kid better, I guess, because we're also getting the eat out scene at the same time. So it's like I still got everything I wanted.
We wouldn't have gotten the eat out scene, we would have also probably had like Riley might have had a connection to the killer, or wouldn't have been a robot killer. That's for damn sure. I'm glad the Silent Night, Deadly Night people rejected these, because fuck that. Plus, we're getting yet another one. Like they just announced a new reboot, so it's like we're getting one anyway. So whatever.
I don't think we're gonna get better than Silent Night. I think that was the perfect amount of post 9/11 angry cynicism. Like it'll be more tame. So I don't give a shit. This could be my version of I'll take both. I'll take my cynical, was it 2012, 2010?
Yeah.
Whatever the era that was by Miller. And then I'll take this awesome robot one, which real quick, I do want to say, I shouldn't say I love, but I respect the fact that they not only kill Sam earlier than I ever would personally, which I think is actually pretty ballsy, but then Riley gets just completely messed up, ankle snapped, hand essentially almost severed. I mean, like I love when our heroes get wounded. I really dig that. And I enjoy that, she survives by the skin of her teeth.
Yeah, it's why as much as I still enjoy the John Wick franchise, there's something special about that first movie because it's like he did so much to get to his point of revenge where it's like he's barely hanging on. Yet there's 3 movies after that take place right after where it's like, and he goes through the same bullshit where it's like, I mean, you were already at 1%. Are you telling me that like, it's like you were still able to like power through this? Because we always need a character that like shows vulnerability.
Real quick, 100% agree. I love those movies. They're some of the best times I've had in theaters in a long time. That being said, as they went on, the only complaint I would give, I mean, because they're fun movies, they are what they are. And I think they deliver on that, is that I think it's the 3rd or 4th, where he's getting hit by 4 cars. I'm like, guys, I understand that this thing is magically bulletproof, but physics still have to exist. And so I was slightly annoyed. So I agree. Like that is one thing I do like about a lot of the newer Bond films with Craig, is that by the end of a lot of them, he's fucking limping, covered in blood, just looks real rugged and sort of messed up. I do like when my heroes end their journey, kind of hanging on as opposed to strutting off the screen.
I think it's because every single one of those Daniel Craig Bond films outside of Casino Royale were like him having like struggling to get out of bed. He was so like broken and worn down. So I think that was just him properly representing how he felt on the inside.
I do love that Skyfall starts off and he's already over the hill and aged and just done with it. It's like we never got the Bond era when he's like on top. It's like, okay, he's like an amateur. He's just getting shit together. And then we cut to part 3 and he's like, you're too old, Bond. You need to retire. I never saw him on top.
Biggest mistake they made with those. It's like Skyfall and No Time to Die should have been like one film and that should have been the final film. And then the 2 films before it should have been like, just Bond at his peak, which apparently we just never get.
We never got. But I do like that he got beat up. And I like that trend in any movie. So the fact that Riley is missing some fingers, can't walk, bone protruding through her ankle. I think that's awesome. And killing Sam was ballsy. I think it was ballsy, especially because by the time they killed him, I love the man, Yeah,
it's a shocking moment, like because he's in front of the car, Riley's in the truck, and you're like, there's that moment where you're just like, no, they are not doing this after setting him up so well, and then his face is just annihilated, like just wrecked from this robotic Santa. Though, did you notice they must have like run out of money when it came to the sheriff's death? Because it seemed like it was going to be this big head explosion via shotgun, but we don't end up seeing anything. It cuts away.
Throw his body in the car, right?
Well, and then he just tosses it to the side, and the shot was already supposed to happen, and like he's fine. So it's one of the things where like, I wonder if they just ran out there,
or they did it because they couldn't. They did it once. They had money to do it once, and it didn't look good. I always think about stuff like that where because you see all the or I shouldn't say see, but you know about all the stories of how we had one shot and it fucking was amazing and it made it in the film and it saved the day. But that also means that there has to be a bunch of shots in movies where they don't get lucky and it's like fuck. This probably was they did it and it didn't look good, or like you said, they shot it last and like, dude, we have no money. It's like, okay, we'll just rip the head up and we'll throw it over the car.
It's lame, but it's most of the other deaths in it work well, so it doesn't bug me too much. But I think everything this movie does is just, I don't know, it's very unique. It has a very unique identity to it, and I think it's why this one connects with me more than many other holiday horror releases. Like I liked Violent Night with David Harbour, but it's like I don't think that'll be like a every year watch for me. Meanwhile, this, it's like I have so much fun with the characters, and if anything, the one thing that might dissuade me from watching this is if I'm in like having a real rough time in life where I'm just like, I don't want to watch those characters I like get killed.
I get
the only thing.
But I want to say real quick that you're right. And then we are in a complete agreement because it's hard to find a new movie that I would say to me is like an instant holiday classic, especially a movie this new. Because you're right, I saw Violent Night, it was fine. There are moments I really liked. I think it held back a little more and it's a little too cutesy. I don't know, than I preferred, but whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, there are new movies that I see and we're like, oh, that's good. I'm digging. I'm having a good time. This, I'll watch every year because this is the type of anti-Christmas movie that I sort of feed off of. And the fact that it does it so well in the style that I'm into, I think is kind of rare. So it's like, you got to hold on to these things and hold on to them tight.
Yeah, I think that's a salient point. I think that's a great way to wrap up our Christmas bloody Christmas conversation. What would you rate? What would you rate this film out of 4?
Might surprise you, but I would actually put this at a 4.
Nice. Any reasoning behind it other than all the stuff we just said in the last hour?
I mean, all the stuff we said, but to sum it up real quick, talkie movies where I find myself like in love with the characters and sort of just completely vibing with, I find this movie super romantic out and then becomes a cool killer gory movie that's horny and mean. So I have 2 movies I love smashed in one, and a lot of the conversations are things I either agree with or even if I don't, have had similar conversations in my life. So I felt this to be a little more authentic to my experience, even if I'm not as poetic in my speaking.
Nice. I mean, I think I'm not quite as like I really enjoyed this movie. I would put it at 3.5 stars. There's minor like quips or minor things that I have issue with, like the opening, and there's random shit that doesn't jive with me. But otherwise, I mean, it's very nitpicky stuff. So it's not anything that ruins my enjoyment. But still consider this to be one of the greatest modern Christmas horror movies out there, and think that I'm very happy that Joe Begos is still doing like horror, because as of I think when you did your Christmas Bloody Christmas video, there was nothing on the horizon for him. I was like, oh no, was that like such a bomb? Because I know it didn't do well. Like, you always hate to see like a movie that you like, and then it's like, oh, that must have been. It's like, yep, that was finally their last straw of like, I made a great movie and no one watched it, so I'm done. Especially
because you and me love it so much, but then I saw some of the comments under my video and people didn't get it, and I'm like, fuck. But he also has a style that, you know, his audience will never be that big. It's going to be a niche audience, but I hope that niche audience is big enough for him to continue.
Yeah, completely agree. And before we wrap things up, I wanted to mention to you, I sent it to you in our little Discord.
I see.
I did not realize they released a teaser trailer for the Return of the Living Dead reboot, and it's a Christmas movie.
I'm suspicious because this is the first I'm hearing of it, and not that I have my ear on the ground per se, but usually stuff like this will find my way into my life. I don't know. I haven't watched the trailer yet. Maybe I'm going to be blown away. I'm just going to guess right now it's going to look kind of cheap.
Yeah, I agree. It. So do you want to know? Do you want to know the setup, the plot of this film?
Remaking one of the best movies ever made. Yeah, let's what is it?
Taking place 18 months after the events at the Uneeda Warehouse in Louisville, Kentucky, aka
a sequel.
This is a sequel.
Sequel.
This is a legacy sequel. This is not a reboot. A new trioxin 245 leak puts a small Pennsylvania town on the brink of a zombie outbreak during Christmas 1985. That's intriguing. If a everything else is just bullshit. It's Tarman who will be coming to town. It's like, whatever. I don't care about that. But I'll
watch the trailer.
Yeah, I like that it's in that world, but I think people need to be reminded that everything. I mean, I know there's people that are fans of 2 and 3, but the Return to the Living Dead franchise has notoriously been a money-hungry, cheap, just trying to squeeze every dime out of the Living Dead brand. That is what those films are. They got lucky with the first movie. So I don't have much faith in a legacy sequel really living up. But also, if someone just uses this is like a the I don't know, the bare bones of a story. It's like they just wanted to make a Christmas zombie movie, and suddenly it's like the way that they could do that was through Return of the Living Dead. Then cool. But if this is just like soulless like the rest of the Return of the Living Dead franchise, then I don't have much interest.
I like 2. I think 2's cute. 2's a kiddie movie, so but whatever. 3 is fun, though it's like, I feel like it's a name only. I don't know, man. I'm in this era of my life where I'm just too cynical, so we'll see. I just scanned through the teaser. It's just the back of the tar man walking with a tree. We'll see, man. I never want to just count it out because I've been surprised. So how about this? I don't have much faith, but I would love to be surprised. That would mean more than me than I could say if I got like a true sequel. Because again, I like part 2. I do, but it's kiddie. It definitely is totally not the same movie, even if it does look similar. If we could get something that feels more like part 1, I would love it. But again, how often do we do sequels this long after and nail it? It is one of those things. If I'm a betting man, I'm going to bet against.
Do you remember when Sci-Fi made Rave to the Grave and Necropolis? Those were the Return of the Living Dead sequels.
I know of them. I've never seen them. I never will. I've always been against the very cheapy looking sequels because it's like, don't waste my time. Come on.
Yeah, no, I agree. I put them in the same boat as like the Day of the Dead sequel and all of that terrible stuff.
Straight to DVD kind of movies, which, I'm not saying can't be good, but usually with these types, they are guaranteed to be bad.
Yeah, looking pretty awful. But all right, well, we have pretty much done it. This is the end of our holiday Christmas extravaganza. We are wrapping up our 2024, and now next week we are getting into The Evil Dead. Very, very excited for what this means, because we essentially, I should state right off the bat too, we're not doing Ash versus the Evil Dead. We might later on do a thing devoted entirely to that series, because it's one of those things we would essentially have to break it down season by season anyway to be able to discuss it, because so much happens in it, and otherwise the movie franchise falls into a like very clean month. So very, very excited to talk some Evil Dead with you, Lance, because I've kind of avoided the franchise. I've been avoiding certain movies lately because I feel like we're going to be doing them on the pod. So
I haven't seen any of those since what was that last one that came out?
Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah. So it's been a while. I mean, and let's be honest, I've seen them 100 times.
Yeah.
But I always like there's a different vibe when I know we're going to talk. So it's not a casual watch. It's like it's something else.
Yeah.
But no, it'll be a good time, man. It'll be a good time.
Because there's a difference between just watching it for the podcast and just watching it casually. Because then you gotta I gotta mention this moment. Where are my notes? Goodbye.
No fucking way that you actually think the Pet Cemetery 2 is better than the fucking first one!
It's twice as good, if not fucking 3 times, okay?
It's good. Not better.